Hi, and welcome to Life is Magic AF. I'm Leonie, and each week I'll be reading out your stories and experiences of all things weird, spooky, unexplained, miraculous, or magical. I'll also be talking about anything related to those stories and giving you tips on how you can embrace your magic. If you'd like your story featured on the show, please email me at magicafstories@gmail.com. Today we are talking about real experiences and connecting on purpose. So this first story happened to me when I was a child. Basically, it was the house where I grew up. So my bedroom was at the back of the house, and I was quite lucky. It was quite a big bedroom. And in the corner of the room, there was a walk-in cupboard. It wasn't massive, but it was big enough to kind of stand in and turn around, basically, as a small child, this is. So I used to play in that cupboard, hide in that cupboard when I was small, and I always did have a bit of a strange feeling in there, especially when the door was shut too. I did not like that door shut completely because you couldn't actually open it from the inside, which in hindsight is probably not the safest, but it was the 80s, what can I say? Anyway, so when I used to go to sleep, I would like all the doors in my room shut. So my wardrobe doors, I had a big double wardrobe, so I liked all of those doors shut, and I used to like that cupboard door shut properly as well. I did, however, need my bedroom door as wide open as it would go. So where my bedroom was at the back of the house, I had two windows, one on the side wall where my bed was against that wall lengthways, and one on the back wall at the back of the house which overlooked the garden. So the curtains on that back window didn't always shut properly, as in they didn't quite meet all the way across. So unless I'd made a special effort to kind of cross them over each other so that they didn't just hang slightly open, sometimes I'd end up getting woken up in the night by moonlight. And where my bed was, the moonlight used to shine onto my face, so I would get woken up at least once a month, maybe a few more times than that in a month if it was a clear sky, with moonlight basically shining onto my face. So when this would happen, because I like to have my bedroom door all the way open, I could see out into the hallway and then out onto the landing. So we had L-shaped stairs, and basically you went down the first two steps and then the staircase turned sharply to the left, and then you could go down the rest of the stairs. And on that kind of square landing part of the stairs, whenever I would wake up due to the moonlight, I would always see something on that stair. So a little bit creepy. Sometimes it was like a skeleton figure, and other times it was just like a little girl, but they were always just stood on that particular step. Like they never really moved or came any closer or did anything to me. They were just there, but it was enough that, you know, I could see them. So in addition to this, when I would see them, there would be something in my room, in that corner, in the cupboard, that used to start making noises. And I used to think to myself sometimes, oh, I'm imagining it, or it's nothing, it's just the house settling. Because I used to say to my mum about it when I was small, you know, what is happening? Like why are these noises happening? Or, you know, if I would wake up in the night and I'd be really brave and I'd go in and wake her up and say to her, can you come and listen in my room, there's noises, she would always just say to me, oh, it's just the house settling, go back to sleep. But so weird, I discovered that the noises always stopped when she would come in my room, obviously, and then when she would go back to her room, then of course the noises would start up again. So they were just like little tapping noises or like little knocking or creaking noises, and I would have to talk very, very nicely to whatever it was making these noises. Please, can you stop? I really just would like to go back to sleep. And I knew that I had to speak very nicely to it so I didn't upset it or like if I got angry with it, it would make the noises worse. So I learned very, very quickly to basically speak nicely to it and to ask it to be quiet. Or I also found out that I could sing to it, either in my head or out loud very quietly, so that it would stop making those noises, and then I'd eventually be able to fall asleep. And everything would be fine in the morning. There wouldn't be any doors open or anything like that apart from my bedroom door. As I got older, I was just super aware that there was something in that corner of my bedroom, something in that corner in the cupboard. So eventually, as I got older again, there was a small desk that was put in that little cupboard for me. It was just like a bench basically laid across two shelves. So that stopped me being able to walk into it. And I would just sit there and do my homework. And I had a fold-up chair as well. So I would sit there, do my homework, but then I was always really mindful to make sure that I shut the door properly at night. This continued for years and years and years, and eventually I moved out of Mum's house and my little sister took my room. She had some similar experiences to me as well, and we would always say to my mum, there's something in the corner, like, what is it in the corner? And these days it was really early on and I didn't know anything about the spirit world. I didn't really know what the rules were or anything like that. I didn't really have any access to information at that time either. It was the early days of the internet. And anytime I tried to just bring it up with my mum, she would just brush it off. So, as I said, I moved out. My sister had my room. She had similar experiences, but we didn't really talk too much about it. So every now and again, she'd say really weird things like, the corner was really noisy last night. So eventually, as it happens, my mum sold that house, and one night shortly after the house was sold, all of us were having a chat. So my mum, my sister, my brother, we were sitting around having a chat about memories and experiences that we had in the house. And I said to my mum, there was something in that corner, wasn't there? And she said, yes, there was. What? So obviously I said, why didn't you just tell me? Why did you let me just think all those years that it was just in my head? And she said, oh, well, I didn't want to frighten you. And I said to her, so there was definitely something in that corner. And if I'd have known what it was then, I wouldn't have been so scared. So basically, she then confessed that when I was younger, when we'd be at school, us kids, and she'd have to go up into my room if she was tidying up or emptying the bin or bringing clean washing into my room to put on the bed, she would announce what she was doing. Like, she would say out loud, I'm just coming in here to put this on the bed, or I'm just in here to empty the bin, almost like she was trespassing or that she shouldn't be in there or something. So she said that she used to have to say what she was doing and why she was in there, and that she didn't like to be in there for too long on her own. So that was one of my very early experiences in childhood. And as an adult now, I have my own children. I very, very much believe it when my children tell me that they feel something or they think that something is there or whatever the case might be. I don't dismiss it or tell them that they're just imagining it or it's not real. I always listen and I always try and feel for myself and see if I can perceive whatever it is as well. So yeah, that's something that happened to me. Creepy. And it was good that I did get the validation after I'd moved out, but years that went on, let me tell you, years and years and years. Anyway, the next story is from Dawn. Dawn says, one evening when I was about 14, my sister had broken down in her car. It was 12 o'clock at night and my mum and dad and I went in our car to go and tow her home. This was in the 60s, so we didn't have mobiles and that sort of thing. When we reached her, she had broken down in a heavily wooded area. My dad got out and started attaching a tow rope with some difficulty. I was sat in the car with my mum, and I looked out the car window towards the trees and saw a man just watching my dad. I said to my mum that I thought he might come and help my dad as he was struggling. My mum looked out the window and said there was no one there. I looked back and the man had gone. I'm sure now that it was a ghost. Creepy. Oh my goodness. So first of all, when you looked, there was someone there. And then when you looked again, that person was gone. Like, oh, creepy. Got goosebumps. So in both these stories, we can see that there was definitely something or someone that didn't have a physical body. In the first story, which was mine, I said that I learnt really quickly not to make whatever it was angry, and learnt that to get the outcome I wanted, which was to go back to sleep, that there would be certain things I had to do so that that could happen. The same can be said of when you want to connect to a spirit purposely, whether that be a guide, an angel, a loved one who's passed on, etc. There are certain things that you can do that will help that to be possible. Firstly, you don't actually have to have a specific person or being in mind that you wish to connect to. However, as a word of caution, I would say that at first, especially if you are still new to connecting to spirit, source, etc., if you don't have a specific idea of who you want to connect to, just please make your intention clear that you are only connecting to those beings who come in truth, love and light. This isn't to scare you, it's just about being sensible and protecting your energy. So if you do have an idea of who you want to connect to, set your intention, so either say aloud or in your head, that you wish for them to draw close to you or to step forward so that you can more easily make the connection with them. So we talked really briefly last time about how mediums do this, and if you haven't heard that episode, do check it out. There are basically so many different types of beings that you could connect to. So first of all, before you're connecting to anybody, you want to make sure that you are protected. And I will do an episode on spiritual protection, psychic protection. But as I said just a second ago, you can state before you connect to anybody, I am only connecting to beings that come in truth, love and light. Okay, and that is also a form of protection. So some of the beings that you might want to connect to can include, but are not limited to, spirit guides, your higher self. So the higher self is the part of you that could not physically fit into your body. The part of you that knows that it is connected to the all that is. So you could also connect to angels and angelic beings, deities, which is gods and goddesses, star beings and ETs, animal guides, fairies and nature spirits, ascended masters, ancestors, magical creatures such as mermaids, unicorns, dragons, etc., light beings or non-physical beings made of light, plus tons and tons of others. All of these beings that I've just mentioned are a very high vibration and a pure energy, and they will come to you in truth, love and light. So there isn't too much danger in connecting with any of these. They will kind of tailor their connection to you, so they won't kind of overwhelm you. They'll just give you as much as what you can handle in terms of connection. So if you want to connect to any of these types of beings, you can put yourself in certain places or do certain types of activities that are more conducive to a connection between yourself and the said desired being. For example, if you want to work with fairies, you can make the connection a lot stronger by attempting to connect in a natural place, such as a field, a forest, or by a waterfall. There are obviously a lot of other kind of rules that go along with connecting to fairies and nature spirits. It is way too much to put into this episode, but I will do another episode that kind of focuses just on fairies and nature beings. But essentially, again, just say that you're coming in truth, love and light, and you want them to come in truth, love and light. With fairies, it's a good idea to have an offering as well, and don't eat any of their food. I know it sounds like a strange rule, but when we do the fairies episode, I will explain in more detail. Anyway, if you are looking to connect with a star being or an ET, for example, you can use an alien head crystal skull. That can be really helpful, or you can just be sat outside under the stars on a clear night. That works as well. If you want to join with your ancestor spirits, you can look at photos of the ancestors that you do know, or if you wanted to connect to those that you don't know, or if you're wanting to connect, so far back in your lineage, dancing can be a really great way to connect. The reason for that is you are then in your physical body and you are using your physical body, which is a literal result of the joining or the love of thousands of people who came before you. So it's almost like a moving prayer. If you want to journey to meet animal spirits, maybe drumming will be the best connection for you personally, or focusing on a picture of that animal. So like drumming, for example, maybe you want to drum out like a heartbeat and imagine that you are bringing that animal to you, you're forging a connection with that animal. Maybe picture that animal in your mind, go to where that animal might be. So obviously if you're wanting to connect to like a lion or a bear or something, which we don't have in England, you can just imagine that you're in that kind of landscape, and then you can connect to them that way. But basically there are so many different pathways to connection. It is literally just about trying different ones out and seeing which ones work for you personally. All right, so I, as always, would be super excited if you want to share any of your stories about times that you connected previously, or maybe you are inspired to give it a go after listening to this. So if that's the case, please let me know. But that is all for today. So thank you so much for listening. Please join us next time for more shared experiences, and if you want to share your story, I would love to hear it. Please send your stories to magicafstories@gmail.com. It's all just further proof that this life really is magic AF. Thanks, bye.